The idea was radical, that everyone, rich or poor, deserved to see a doctor. And so in 1883, the new nation of Germany became the first to have national health insurance. This was under the leadership of Otto von Bismarck. Bismarck is in the battleship, the capital of North Dakota, and the Herring. And in our third story in the countdown, as in national health insurance, we still don't have here 124 years later. It is, however, a topic again, at least in part, thanks to Michael Moore's movie Sicko. It doesn't so much as plead for those who have no insurance as show how those with insurance can still find themselves tragically uncovered and even bankrupt. Moore also taking on oft-repeated myths like how socialized medicine in Britain lowers the pays of doctors, driving them out of business.
You work for the government.
Oh, yeah,
You're
absolutely.
a government-paid doctor. So working for the government, you probably have to use public transportation?
No, so I have a car that I use, and, you know, I drive.
An old beater. You live in a kind of rough part of town, or?
I mean, I live in a terrific part of town. It's called Greenwich. It's a lovely house. It's a three-story house.
How much do you pay for that?
550,000. Yeah, so
pounds.
Yeah.
So $1 million.
Yes, absolutely.
So doctors in America do not necessarily have to fear having a universal health care.
No, I think if you want to have $2 or $3 million homes and 4 or 5 nice cars and 6 or 7 nice televisions.
Even in the words of Fox Noise, Sicko is Sacco, a documentary still managing to earn $12 million and a top 10 spot in less than 3 weeks. No doubt helped along by Mr. Moore's withering encounters with media critics.
I saw the film, and it's a powerful,
I saw Dr. Sanjay Gupta over there embedded with the troops at the beginning of the war. He and the others of you in the mainstream media refuse to ask our leaders the hard questions and demand the honest answers. And that's why we're in this war. We're in the 5th year of this war, because you and CNN, Dr. Gupta, you didn't do your jobs back then, and now here we are in this mess. What if you'd actually done the job on that? That's why anybody who hears anything of what you say now about universal health care should question what you're saying, what you're putting out there. You didn't do the job for us with the war. You're not doing it with this issue. And I just wonder when the American people are going to turn off their TV sets and quit listening to this stuff.
Or at least tune to another channel. Michael Moore joins us from Bel Air, Michigan tonight. Mr. Moore, congratulations on your film.
Thank you, and I just want to say that Dr. Gupta phoned in a prescription for me after that encounter.
I'm not going to ask for what, but serious. But Wolf Blitzer's beard looked like it was about to molt during that encounter. You were really ticked off. Did you get? I mean, you got this apocryphal prescription. Did you get an apology for that CNN report on the movie that made you so angry?
No, and I'm still waiting for it, and frankly, I'm not going to give up until I get one. They are the most trusted name in news, as you might have heard, and so their report was filled with so many inaccuracies. I have all of the evidence and the facts up on my website. Anybody can go and see where they were wrong, and I'm going to wait. And you know what? I believe that they will do the right thing, and they will issue an apology for the mistakes that they made. So it's actually really, to me, a big distraction to talk about all of that, you know, nitpicking stuff that he was after when we have a much larger issue. I think what really got me going in terms of the other day is that I just feel, Keith, and you know, of course you talk about this all the time on your show, and your commentaries have been incredible about the war, that here we are, we're in the 5th year of this thing, and I've seen very few media outlets issue an apology for not doing the job that they should have done, because in some ways I feel the media is more responsible for this war than Mr. Bush. I mean, on some level you can say, you know, Bush doesn't know any better, but the media does. And if the media had done its job and really demanded the answers from these people, the public might not have gotten so behind it, and we could have prevented it. So there's a complicity involved here with our media, and I'm still, after all these years with the war still going on, still very upset about the fact that we've lost so many lives, and people simply won't take responsibility for their actions.
Agreed, and we pointed out here before, we all suspended our disbelief, and a lot of us did it for very patriotic reasons, but there was a point at which you have to stop and say, wait a minute, this is literally that Emperor's New Clothes story. It's being reenacted for us in in so many areas in the war, and as you point out in this entire debate over health care, and you just used a great phrase here, that we seem to be distracted by nitpicking. This is the way things like, should there be a war, should there be a Department of Homeland Security, should there be universal health care, these are the way these things get sidetracked, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, we talk about all this stuff that's not, well, listen, I got to hand it to the health insurance industry and the pharmaceutical industry. They do a great job of getting us sidetracked. They spend billions of dollars on PR every year, and believe me, as the next movement now begins to get universal health care in this country, you can bet that they're going to throw everything they can at this. But I think it's a little bit too late for them, because in the 14 years since Mrs. Clinton tried to do something about this, 14 years of people suffering through a very broken system, people losing loved ones as a result of not having insurance. The #1 cause of bankruptcies now in the country is due to medical bills. Do you realize that nobody in Canada or Britain or France or any of the other 24 top 25 industrialized countries, nobody ever goes bankrupt because of medical bills? Nobody ever loses their home? No one is ever denied because of a pre-existing condition, and on and on and on. We've got something very wrong and very immoral about our system, and I'm hoping that it's going to change.
How does that happen if, of all the presidential candidates, only Congressman Kucinich is flat out for a non-profit single-payer system? How do you get it done politically?
It's only going to happen when the people demand it. I mean, the people are going to have to demand that these candidates, and I'm specifically referring to the Democratic candidates, demand that they come up with specific proposals that are essentially at their core single-payer, government-run, and free for all Americans, removing private insurance as the middleman. We lose literally hundreds of billions of dollars every year because of all the administrative costs, the red tape, the profit that the companies have to make. That's why our whole system is so expensive, why it costs so much, and we could do this a heck of a lot cheaper, and it would cover everyone. You know, I can't speak for the Democratic candidates. I wish their plans were better. They're all sort of in the right path, but they're afraid to take that big leap and just say private insurance has to go. No doctor should have to call an insurance man to ask for permission to treat a patient that's sitting right there in the doctor's office. It just makes no sense.
Let me switch you back. We sort of started on this at the beginning of the interview, and I want to end the interview here. The war. Do you have a response to the president's claim today that the surge has been at least halfway successful so far?
Well, you got a halfway president there. I mean, the whole nation is totally befuddled by this individual. He's become a non-partisan, bipartisan issue. Republicans and Democrats and independents all together are sick and tired of the job he's doing, and they want this war to end. And I'm hoping the Democratic Congress hears that message. They were given the message last November. They haven't followed through on what they were told to do by the people of the United States of America. So I really hope that the Democrats can find their spine and do what needs to be done here.
Do you think it's fear on the part of the Democrats, or that they're not aware of the power that they have?
They're not aware of the power they have, and it is fear. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. And you know what? The only way they're going to understand it is if people write their members of Congress, call them, go and visit their local offices, make your voices heard. It has a powerful impact on them. But somehow they're just not getting the message right now. And I guess it's up to us to give them that message and tell them that they're going to have a hard time getting elected next time. Not that people are going to switch their votes to the Republicans, but they're going to depress the vote, and people just simply aren't going to show up next November because they're going to be so disappointed with what the Democrats have done.
The new movie is Sicko. Its maker is Michael Moore. Great luck with the latest project, and great thanks for your time tonight, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on here, and thanks for the great show you have.
Thank you, sir. So, the Secretary of Homeland Security says he has a gut feeling that we're at greater risk of attack by al-Qaeda this summer.